gonna get frozen. Do you mind if I open the windows a little bit?
Jay's got a
It's gonna get
jacket.
kinda hot.
He can stand it.
Never mind. Yeah, just a little. Just crack it.
Sarno committee chair.
You want a little on this side?
No, it's okay. Just crack. No.
One is going to do it.
Let's see.
This is going to be mom, and it's going to be
I'm
hot.
going through menopause. Terry. No. The mayor wrote a letter today, though, I believe. What? The mayor wrote a letter to the court today. Can I? Okay. Terry, don't. You're going to kill yourself. Don't do that. Forget it.
Has no handles on it. Is it locked?
We should put handles on it, so don't worry about it. It's okay. Jay's going to get frozen. Don't do Jay. Put him there.
I don't know how this man still keeps up with all these extracurricular activities block or uphold Sarno. I would be, you know, with
No,
all
I
the
brought a
things
bottle.
he's got going back. What?
What time is
About 30 seconds.
it?
So I was looking at the one on the wall.
Okay.
Phone? Yeah.
58.
59.
Close enough.
Yep, it just turned 59.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Would everyone please stand for a short prayer and a salute to our flag? Almighty God, grant us the wisdom to make those decisions that are in the best interest of all of our residents. May the Heavenly Father of us all bless those who have given the ultimate sacrifice in service to our nation, and may He watch over and protect our servicemen and women now guarding the gates of freedom. Our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Terry, statement of publication, please.
Mayor, take notice that this regular meeting of the Mayor and Borough Council being held on this 26th day of October 2015 has been advertised and posted in accordance with Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
Roll call.
Councilpersons Buchanan.
Here.
Kilpatrick. Here. McGill.
Here.
Melendez.
Here.
Novak.
Here.
Rittenhouse.
Here. Okay. Approval of prior minutes of the Mayor and Council. Council President.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the following minutes of the Mayor and Council be approved on roll call vote, subject to correction if necessary. August 11, 2015, receipt of bids on a Honk lift truck. August 18, 2015, receipt of bids, picnic area pavilion upgrades at Burks Park. August 26, 2015, receipt of bids, Water Department, chemical hydrated, lime, and property maintenance services. September 15, 2015, receipt of bids, modifications to the former Bordentown Avenue Water Treatment Plant building. And September 28, 2015, regular and agenda and executive sessions, too.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next item, Terry. At this time, I'd like to call up Jerry Ust and the participants of in the Hit the Bricks and the BIC. Go ahead, Jerry. There's no mic by the table?
There's one here.
Hello.
If you'd come to the center, that way everybody will be on the cable channel. Otherwise, you're a voice in the wilderness.
This year, we ran our annual Hit the Bricks race, and we're here tonight to make a check presentation to the Cerebral Association of Brain Injured Children. Just a quick thanks to a few people. The Giovanco family, who we wouldn't be able to run the race without. You do a great job helping us organize and run the race. Our Recreation Advisory Board people, we probably have about 20 people that come and help do registration and help mark out the courses and such. Our EMTs to come out and make sure that everybody gets through the race healthy. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Jay, CME, and Brian O'Neill and a few other people, but this year we raised $4,100 for the BIC. Music is good. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to go a little out of order. Rich Kosmowski, if you would make your presentation, please.
Mayor and Council, good evening. I have been serving on the Veterans Alliance since its inception back in the late 1990s. Since that time, Ken Kelly and I have been co-chairman of the Alliance and have worked on many projects concerning the veterans, some of which include the naming of ball fields, parks, etc., after our boys that were killed in action fighting our country's wars. We have had memorials, honor rolls constructed so as never to forget their sacrifices for those of our homeboys. One of our first tasks back in the 90s was to submit names of veterans to which streets could be assigned, and then to have each street that was named for a fallen hero memorialized with his name and war era on that blue sign. To date, there are 63 such signs. One of our more controversial projects was selecting streets for Patriot Hill. Parents were in uproar. They said their children would never be able to spell the names of Makarowski, Babashevsky, and Kovanchek. Our answer to them was twofold. If it wasn't for those young serviceable men giving their lives to fight the Germans in World War I, our official language may be German. Answer number two to them. If the name was able to fit on a dog tag, then it was able to fit on a street sign. A few years ago, we were once again asked to submit names for veterans for additional streets in Town Lake, Spinnaker Point, Lemire, which we did. We chose families that had multiple family members serve in the military during wartime. That list was exhausted earlier this year. Back in February of this year, we were once again asked to submit a new list of veterans' names. I've been working diligently on formatting a new list since February. I had to take the names that were on the honor rolls, and there are 2,153 names on the honor roll. Okay. We merged them together, demanding and confusing at times and very time-consuming. The Alliance was also asked to work with the Cerebral Historical Society to seek their input in selecting people from Cerebral that had a historical impact on the borough, which we did. Now, let me give you an example of why and some of the problems that we came across making this list. The spelling of family surnames can vary greatly. Now, you all have a pen in front of your paper. Please write the name Domzal. Okay. That happens to be my maternal great-grandfather's name, who came here from Poland in the 1880s. Okay. Settled in the Melrose section. Now that you have the name written, cross the L midway with a small stroke angled upward. Okay. Those of you of Polish descent know what I'm talking about. Okay. You can see it is very prominent on headstones in Polish cemeteries. Okay. This is the way they wrote the L when they came here from the old country. Okay. Casper had 3 sons. Frank went in World War I, was enlisted in World War I, went to Germany. His Army recruiter took that L and he made it a K. His brother John joined the Army World War I. Went to Germany, had a different recruiter. Took that L and made it a K. But took the O, second letter, and made it an A. Third son, Stanley, went in. His recruiter left it alone. So here you have 3 brothers that came out of World War I, all with different last names, all from the same family. This is one of the problems that we had making this list up for street names. Do we name it Damzak? Domzal? Domzak. Okay. That's why it took us in February to get this list together. Okay. Back then, there were no driver's licenses. You had no Social Security, so who cared what your name was? When you get out of the Army, they gave you a check, made out to that name. That's my new name. And that's the way it is. Okay. That's only one example, and there were others in town. Przybylowski, was Wilowski. Where's the W? Where's the S? What name do we choose? You're laughing, Wayne. You know what I'm talking about, right? Okay. With the help of the Historical Society, we have also made some recommendations to name some streets after homeboys who were Silver Star recipients. For those of you who don't know, the Silver Star Award is just below the Medal of Honor. Okay. We already have some streets named for them due to the family name, but we know currently. But there are 5 additional Silver Star recipients that we're suggesting go to the top of the list of this new naming of streets. Finally, a few weeks ago, I was contacted about a name for the new access road from the Parkway leading into the Point. Some names were discussed, debated over by the Alliance and the Historical Society, some appropriate and some not. One name thrown out was Titanox for the Division of National Ed that was formerly at that site. That name was taken out of consideration, but we will reserve that name for another project down the road because of the historical nature. The Historical Society has come up with a recommendation which has approval of the Veterans Alliance. It is being recommended that the major road into the Point be called Peter Fisher Boulevard. And I have a letter from the Historical Society signifying the historical importance of Peter Fisher, and would like to read that letter to you at this time from the Historical Society. For the naming of the major new road in Sayreville, I emphatically recommend the name Peter Fisher Boulevard. Only one location within a borough officially bears Peter Fisher's name, Fisher Street, a small dead-end road near South River Bridge that was lost to Hurricane Sandy. It is my firm belief that the memory of Sayreville's founder and builder should be honored in a more fitting manner, reflecting the significance of his life to our community as described in this short biography. Peter Fisher was born in Fishkill, New York on October 28, 1818. There in the Hudson Valley, he earned success in the business of shipping. In 1850, he entered into a partnership with James Randolph Sayre of Newark, who provided the capital, while Fisher provided the know-how to form a clay mining and brick manufacturing enterprise in South Amboy. The Sayre and Fisher Brick Company rapidly purchased large tracts of clay-rich land along the south bank of the Raritan River at a place called Roundabout. Eventually, Sayre and Fisher brought out most of the small pottery and brick manufacturing plants then operating along the river. At its height, the Sayre and Fisher Company owned or leased over 1,500 acres of property that stretched over 2 miles along the waterfront at the Raritan River. By 1900, Sayre and Fisher was one of the 10 largest employers in New Jersey. James Sayre envisioned a fully integrated company town to support his brick enterprises, and his money and influence brought Sayre's Village into existence. However, it was Peter Fisher who built a home, raised a family in a newly formed township of Sayreville, and his descendants continued operating his brick company long after his passing. No individual is responsible for bringing more economic growth and prosperity to Sayreville than Peter Fisher. A self-made man, Fisher always humbly considers himself as just one of the workers at his brick company. But his hard work and business acumen brought him great financial success. Even when in his advanced age, his workers witnessed him stop a newly hired employee to demonstrate to the young man the most efficient way to wheel a wheelbarrow, full of brick from its kilns to its boats. His obituary described him as Sayreville's founder and builder, its leading citizen, widely known for his acts of charity and benevolence, and loved by his employees for his uniform kindness. Fisher lived over 50 years of his life in Sayreville and died at his summer home in Allenhurst, New Jersey. This is submitted sincerely by Jason Slazinski, President of the Sayreville Historical Society, and the Sayreville Municipal Historian. And in closing, I'd like to thank the Mayor and Council this evening for your time, for allowing the Veterans Alliance to select the veterans who we can name streets after. I also want to thank you for your support of the projects undertaken by the Alliance, especially when asking for funding of certain projects. Knowing that elections are in another week, I would like to wish all of the candidates best of luck, no matter the outcome, and look forward to working with you.
Rich, I want to thank you, Ken Kelly, the rest of the veterans, first for your service to our country, and secondly to you and Ken for your tireless work on the Veterans Alliance. Throughout the years, you have always been there, you have always come through, and you've always come up with good and honorable solutions to whatever challenges were placed before you. I thank you. My understanding is Eddie Streck had a lot to do with this. Captain of the Color Guard, thank you very much. Jason Solinsky of the Historical Society, and we thank you for your input. So once again, job well done, Veterans Alliance.
Thank you. Terry, would you like a copy of this?
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the police radio, Captain Batko.
Yes, good evening. I've been asked to attend this meeting to answer any questions and also to probably explain to the mayor and council our request to proceed with the release of funds for our consultant. Unfortunately, either of our consultants couldn't make it on a short notice today. We would like to proceed forward in obtaining 700 frequencies. We're currently on 500 UHF.
Captain, if I could just ask you, we have a full attendance here tonight in the council chambers. The chief did call me about what occurred over the weekend, so if you could brief the council and the public at home as to what happened and why this sense of urgency.
Yes. Recently, going back a few weeks, we had some radio outages. They have been repaired. Our system is aged. Again, this past weekend, we had a catastrophic failure of our radio system. We're working on borrowed units from Perth Amboy, who graciously supplied it to us on a quick type basis, and it really saved our behinds. Right before I came into the meeting, I was on the phone. I called our radio repairman, who's still working at one of our radio sites, hopefully trying to revive our system and to get it back on board. I don't know if he'll be successful. If not, we're going to have to proceed in another thing, but that's not to be determined, I think, today. But to show the urgency of this, it's very, very urgent and very dire situation. What I'd like to ask is authorization for the release of the funds to pursue the 700 frequencies so that we can move forward with this project. There is some discussion that, well, we might go merge with the county, use their system, and why would we need these frequencies? And I believe you have a letter supplied by the consultant explaining that they won't go to waste, even no matter which pathway we take. But time is of the essence. When you apply for frequencies, it's not an overnight thing. The government, there's a lot of obstacles, and it takes a while. And also, it will be not a tremendously expensive process, but it's estimated to be at in excess of $30,000 just to get the licenses. So I'm here to answer questions of that.
Ron, what's the total cost of this project, roughly? Or wait a minute, Wayne, do you have that number?
That can't be determined at that time because it really.
Do you have an estimate?
Not really. It's millions. You know, it's millions.
Well, it was millions the first time.
Yeah.
So it's always going to be seven figures.
There's no set estimate. The consultant did give estimates based on preliminary counts of radios, but we don't know if we're heading with a merger with an existing radio entity or standalone, and there will be a difference in price.
Dan, can you weigh in on this?
Mayor, I think what Ron is saying is that we have not chose the path of whether we're going to do it ourselves as a borough, whether we're going to use the county as a backbone. The costs for the radios, just for, and if someone wants to total these up, and just for, let's just say, the mobile radios are somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000.
Each or piece?
Each.
Rather, each or an aggregate?
No, each.
What's the aggregate?
We have a need of
Times 600, approximately times 600, so that would be your subscriber units. Then you also need your infrastructure support, your base station, so to speak, your bases throughout the town.
Okay,
And also, I'm looking
Ron, it's just dollars. Let's just go over so that you can't pass something without knowing a reasonable
cost.
No, I'm not asking for a radio system. I'm asking that we proceed to get the frequencies to utilize by the radio.
Is this a frequency issue
Just a
that caused?
frequency
No, no,
issue.
this outage that happened over the weekend, is this because we don't possess the
No,
frequencies?
it's not, it is and not related. Currently, we're on 500 frequencies, and the FCC already made notice to people that are subscribers of these licenses
Right.
that in 6 years from now, we will have to surrender them. Rather than go through a process and use our current 500 frequencies,
Right.
it probably behooves us to move where they want us to move and get out of where they don't want us to be.
Is $30,000 the amount for the extra frequencies?
That's the engineering fees, that's the research fees, the licenses are free. They're
I
from the
understand,
federal
okay,
government.
so
That's
it's
a consultant.
$30,000 for the frequencies.
Correct.
And then what is the next thing you need?
The next thing will be to examine, we will have to examine what equipment and what system we want to go with. If we want to piggyback.
How
on
long will that take you?
That's a fairly quick thing.
Well, again, how long, can you do it before the first of the year?
I could tell you my opinion right now. You know,
I imagine every person
yeah.
in the room, every
Right.
first responder could tell.
Right.
Okay, so, but we need some things to deal with here.
Yes.
How quickly and reasonably can you give us a date and a package?
It's going to be a year from now because it will take,
All right, then let me back it up. What do we need to do right now?
we need to get our frequencies. so
Okay,
we
so
can
that's
proceed.
30,000, no, wait a minute, we have it this, Dan, if you would weigh in, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I think the problem is that the most important issue that we have facing us and why all these people are here today is because the system's gone down numerous
Okay.
times.
What is the solution?
So the solution is probably one of 3 or 4 situations to make it better than what it is. One is to work with Perth Amboy off of their 550 frequency. They were kind enough to give us radios, a small amount of radios.
Right.
And work off of that frequency, only for the police and basically the fire or EMTs did not get any of them. This is running off their Perth Amboy's auxiliary service, correct? Correct me, Ron? Correct?
We looked into it very quickly today because this just happened yesterday, the outage. We looked at the possibility of buying or leasing radios to work on Perth Amboy's system and with future use of our system. So we're buying something, or leasing something, or renting something today
Okay.
that could currently be used by the Perth Amboy system.
Okay, Ron, what I need you to do is give me the solution, whether you need a very quick solution in the interim and then a longer-term solution at a future date is fine, but maybe we can break it down so we get a ballpark number of how much money we'd be allocating. So what is the short-term solution that you're recommending?
What we have to do immediately, it's not a solution, is we have to go for the 700 frequencies.
Okay, so that's
that
$30,000.
goes without
What's
it,
the
right.
next thing we need to
Right.
do?
Secondly, I think we have to wait until our radio repairman is done tonight, tomorrow, or whenever, to see the status of the system. The system needs to be replaced.
No, I
But it's-
understand,
it's-
but what do you need short-term?
I
If the
need-
borough is at risk, what do you need short-term?
I need a little more time with our radio repair to see if that system that we have could be brought up and operate. And I won't know that answer maybe tonight,
Can I answer?
tomorrow.
Let me jump
Okay.
in
Can
here.
I May I?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you
So-
want to go first?
Is there any other, maybe Dan would know,
Yep.
short-term solution that we can do right now? Because obviously the system's not stable, right? We all agree. Even if they
I
fix
would
it tonight,
agree-
you're going
I
to
would
agree
agree it's
stable.
not stable, correct.
Right.
And I would say that.
So may I weigh in, because I had a meeting this afternoon with the county, okay? And let me weigh in on a couple alternatives, but the ones that Ron was saying is, your choices are Perth Amboy, limited coverage that doesn't cover the whole borough, the entire borough, nor will any of these solutions cover the entire borough. It's working with radios that they have, trying to get some more radios, scrounging around like we're scrounging around for parts for the system right now. The system is not working, and that is a solution. I'm not saying that's the best solution. The second is to work with East Brunswick, which is the same thing, possibly going to them, working on their frequency, borrowing radios or getting radios, and moving forward with them, which they apparently, and again, I have not researched this totally, does not have the best coverage. The third, and I think this is the one which I sat with the county with today, the third seems to be a very interesting. The county has an existing backbone. The existing backbone, they gave, Chief Mulligan is here, the chief called Mr. Gallagher from the OEM from the county. The chief got, I believe, 12 to 15 radios. Chief, I saw you here before. I don't know if you're still here or not.
Yeah.
12 or 15 radios over the weekend so the fire could work, so the firemen could communicate with each other because they were not communicating with the police. The county is willing to give us, as a test program, 100 radios to work off of their backbone. As soon as they can program those radios, they can work this as the primary radio system. Will it have some holes in it? It may. I don't know the coverage, and the coverage is the most important thing for research. These men are all over the borough. They're going from one end from Melrose to Winding Woods. We just want to make sure that there's coverage. That, in my opinion, would give the most immediate coverage, the quickest coverage to protect the men and women who work for us in public safety. And I think at this moment, the county, and I didn't negotiate any prices or anything like that, the county is willing to help us. That's what the county is there for. The county is there to help when we're in a fix and a jam that we're in. We did not talk prices, but they were not looking to gouge us, or they were looking to solve our problem. They understood that. They are more than willing to sit down immediately, work with them, and in my opinion, as long as the coverage is as good as what we have now, or better than what we have in Perth Amboy, or better than what we have in East Brunswick, my recommendation is go with the county, make these men and women as safe as possible, and to keep the borough as safe as possible. Now, I'm just saying is that that's my initial discussion. I've
Okay.
not done any more research
Okay.
besides that.
Ron, would you concur?
I would concur, but I think at this time, the county we would be operating on the old county system. We have.
No,
someone
as
here.
far as our three options.
Yes,
Is the county the best of the three?
Probably. Yeah.
All right. Is there any, for a temporary measure, is there any strong objection for going that way?
None that I know of, but this is something that I didn't speak with Mr. Frankel just briefly about.
Right.
I really came here to talk about the licensing. And
Okay.
then
I
we
don't
had a
think
failure.
there's a problem. Is there any problem on this licensing?
No, I totally agree. The licensing needs to start now.
No.
because it's a
So the
6-month process.
licensing is a non-issue, so we can probably take action if you need tonight. I don't know whether there'd be an impediment, but I don't think so. So the second thing is, we can take action tonight on authorizing the temporary partnering with the county on this system. What I am going to do, just so that we have consensus, is ask the representative of the other first responders from fire and from first aid to weigh in. Those are two volunteer units, and then I'll ask Doug Gombrecht, representing the PBA, to weigh in, with your permission.
No problem.
Okay.
I have a few questions.
Go ahead.
If we go with this county, how long is this going to take until they have radios that we can halfway depend on?
I don't know.
The county told us that they have the radios in place at their OEM facility. They have the 100 radios. When you just can't take a radio and say, here. You have to program the radio. You have to, I would say it would take probably my best guess, a couple of weeks.
What are we going to do tomorrow?
We have Perth Amboy, that we have their radios right now. Correct, Ron?
Correct.
But
Wait, look, you're asking what we're doing today. I'm just saying, I can't move any faster as far as what the county's concerned. I have to say what we have today. The chief from fire chief borrowed, I think, 12 to 15 radios for fire. He borrowed them from the county. The county could probably get us a few more for EMS. I don't know how many we can get right away and program right away, but that's all I have as of this moment.
Let me speak a little bit as to the timing, because I think that's your question.
Yeah.
And if we went with the first solution, that was a suggestion, getting radios that work with Perth Amboy, and we believe that they would work with a future system that we designed, it would take 1 month to get those radios from today. If we told them today to place the order, it would take 1 month to get them in our hands. So time is of the essence. I understand that. I believe that we should strongly, push for repair of our current system, go ahead with getting a new system, forge ahead with that, and continue to use Perth Amboy as needed. And there might be some validity to that. Maybe we should look at leasing, renting, buying systems, a radio that works on their system. I did not know that the county had 100 radios available at this instant. That's a very viable solution. They just built a 400-foot tower in our town. We should have good coverage with that. There were problems in the past. I don't know. I don't have enough information about that.
I mean, I talked to you several months ago, and it was similar problems. I didn't realize it was affecting the police. I was talking to you directly about the first aid, didn't have working radios, and it was up, it was down, it was up, it was down, it was up, it was down. And that was months ago. Didn't we anticipate that this was going to happen with the police radios? Because the main channels, they're all the same. When I talk on the main channel, the dispatchers hear me, the other police
There
hear
was
me.
no anticipation on my part, and there's no future anticipation that if they would fix it today, that would break next week. It might, and it might not. And you have multi-million-dollar systems, such as in East Brunswick, installed, and they fail when they're brand new also. So I don't like the word anticipation. Could you anticipate it? We need to replace our system because it's old, and it's going to be susceptible to breakdowns that probably shouldn't be happening. And we have to move ahead with that.
But Ron, you told me back then that the radios, excuse me?
Just a moment. If you don't mind, I just want to jump in. Cap, you mentioned that, well, first of all, did the system go down again today?
Did the system go down today? It went down yesterday, and it's been down since yesterday.
Did it go down Thursday and Friday also?
No, it did not.
Yes.
It did?
22
Okay.
hours.
All right, here's my-
Completely down?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay,
It has not been down since Thursday.
They've been working off Perth Amboy system for the last couple days. It has been down
I-
since Thursday. Matter of fact, I think one of our supervisors called radio repair at nighttime and was told, why you call us at night?
Doug, if you would, I'll have you come up.
You gotta come up to
Cap,
The system
just-
worked-
We can't
Captain,
hear.
Captain,
The
just a moment.
system worked
No, I know the
Friday
captain.
night.
Just a moment.
Okay.
I heard about it Friday afternoon, so we're a bit confused here. But you say time is of the essence.
Mm-hmm.
When did it become time is of the essence here? Today, yesterday, last week? And did the system go down prior to this? Because I had been to meetings at headquarters where you attended these meetings where we did talk about everything you're talking about now, and I know there were field trips to look at different systems.
Correct.
But obviously, time of the essence was because this is an old system that had to be fixed. As Councilwoman Mary had said, you talked about, well, you don't want to use the word anticipate. Well, you might anticipate a little bit with a new system, but we're looking at apparently a very old system here, and I would anticipate a whole lot. Okay, and that means this system, dollars to donuts, that system's going to go down again and again and again. And I don't know what the best answer is. The best answer is the long answer, which we are nowhere near, unless
Well,
you correct me. No, let me finish. The thing is that we need to do something right away. You don't want first responders with no communication. So what do? This is not the age of, cans and string. We need to do something, and we probably have a couple of ideas between you and Mr. Bracken and other people who really know what they're talking about, but we need to get this done now. The anticipation, yeah, I anticipate it to go down again. All right, and we're probably going to have kissing cousins with Perth Amboy now because we need something right now to get us going, to keep us going. because without these folks, you know what? We're a dead island. Thank you.
Go ahead, Mary.
I just wanted to say, Superstorm Sandy, we had no communications. And we didn't say, well, we'll wait for a week, or we'll wait for a month, or we'll do this, we'll do that within a matter of hours. We had donated BlackBerries from Verizon to work on. Is there anything like that, like Nextel, where everybody could be issued a Nextel out there, that they could get in touch with somebody promptly? Because you know, these guys are out there. The atmosphere right now with cops is very dangerous.
Thank you.
They don't have time to even dial. They need something where they can call for help immediately. And it can't, and I know you're working hard. I know everybody's working hard now. But we need something tomorrow, because this can go down tomorrow. And one life is too much. Thank you.
Okay, Dan, Ron, what is the solution going forward? So the 600 channel application will formalize it, I believe, tonight, Captain. So the next thing is, on a temporary basis, 700 channels, rather. Can this be something accomplished by tomorrow? Whether it's the county, Perth Amboy, East Brunswick, a combination, selection of one or a combination of three?
Dan?
I don't know about Perth Amboy. I am recommending the county. I would have input by any of our public safety people, from EMS to fire, to the chief, to anyone from the police who's be the spokesperson, who could speak. But I think what I saw today and what I felt today, I think the county has things in place right now, as long as the coverage is there, which we have to make sure about, because that's important.
Okay, but the question I'm asking is, I want to put a line in the sand from a,
It
when
can't be done
you're going to take
tomorrow,
action.
because it takes a month to
No,
get
no,
the
to make the
radios.
decision to give the authorization that this is what we're going to do.
Right.
Is this something that could be accomplished by sometime tomorrow?
We could get the facts and figures probably by tomorrow.
What are you talking about? What are you asking for
But-
tomorrow?
But we can't get
On
the
the
equipment.
temporary solution,
So I think
whether
the
it's...
temporary, right, I think the
right.
temporary solution we're
Right.
recommending is we're going to go with we're going to request the help of the county, right? The Perth Amboy system is temporary, but I also understand that's their auxiliary system. So at any given time, if they have an outage in their primary system, they're going to pull those back. So that's
Right.
not really a viable
Cor-
solution
cor-
for us right now.
Correct,
It's
yes.
not-
We don't have a lot from them now. I think we have 20.
20,
I think,
right.
yeah.
But I was explained earlier, those
Right.
20 is their backup.
Right.
So we have no primary and we
And
have no secondary, so.
If we wanted to increase that number, it would take a month from now to get those radios.
No, if we went ahead and took the county's offer tomorrow, and then it would take, I would assume they're going to release the radios as they're reprogrammed, rather than in one lot. So I would assume it'll be an integration that would, let's say we made the authorization tonight, they would start reprogramming it tomorrow, and as the radios were reprogrammed for the necessary frequencies, they would be released to Saraville Police and then sent out.
Yeah,
So I guess the question to you, Ron, is do you see any objection if we move forward? If we
what-
ask Dan tomorrow, authorize Dan, whatever he needs to do,
Yeah.
get on the
If-
phone. I mean, is there anything technically or politically on your side that you think
I
will be an
don't,
issue?
I don't see any hardship to that. If they have the radios on hand, that could work.
Okay.
But I wasn't aware of that until now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, if you would include Captain Batko in all conversations with the county, so that we have everybody on the same page at all times, please. Captain, if you don't mind, I'll ask the representative of the fire department and the EMS to come up to weigh in, and PBA President Doug Gombrecht. Chief Mulligan, you there? Come on up.
Mayor, could I also include in this, because it also has to involve with IT, could I also include Tom Bracken?
Sure,
Okay,
absolutely.
Thank you.
You can include me on that too. Dan.
Kevin, come on up. Are you representing? Please come up.
Mayor, can I ask one quick question?
Sure.
Dan, do you know who, or somebody, who programs the radios? Who does that? Is that something we could do if they had 100 radios that they could give us?
It
Who programs
sounded
our
like
radios now?
I believe that's the county.
Right.
The county's going to
Okay.
take care of that.
Yeah.
No, no,
Okay,
I just don't know. I'm just asking that question, try and speed up the process of getting them.
okay. Chief Mulligan, if you would.
Our take on this is, we've heard pros and cons about the county radio. We haven't personally used them.
Can you identify yourself?
Oh, I'm sorry. Rich Mulligan, Saraville Fire Chief. I can't weigh in on the pros and cons because I haven't dealt with them firsthand.
No, no, dealing with the options we have tonight, Chief.
Whatever's the quickest and
Right.
best solution for the safety of
Okay.
not only,
It's sounding like it's the county, just from sheer numbers.
yeah, whatever's the safest
Right.
option.
Okay. All right, so you'll be kept in the loop for the fire department needs?
Yes, I have 12 radios.
No, no, for
No, I'm
whatever
just
we're
saying,
doing, I want you included in this process.
Yes, we would like to be included.
Yep, you are.
We have 12 radios that I got from Mike Gallagher yesterday. 11 are distributed to the fire department, and 1 is at dispatch, so we can communicate with them at this time.
Good. Okay.
All right?
Thank you, Chief. Kevin?
Squad Captain Kevin, we've been working over the telephone all day today. Our pagers don't work, radios don't work. The dispatchers have been calling our cell phone, my cell phone all day. The radios are just really crap. And when we hear the radio, it's just a big buzzing noise. So we get nothing.
Okay, do you have any objection to this, to going forward?
If it's
All right.
easy, fast, quick.
Okay,
make
do
it
you
happen.
want to be the contact person? And then also find someone from Morgan, if you would? Is there anyone from Morgan First Aid here tonight? No, okay, if you would contact somebody from the Morgan. Doug, if you would, please, if you'd identify yourself.
Doug Gumprick, Saraville PBA, Local 98, 1000 Main Street. Mayor, I wrote a grievance back in December of 2014 outlining the borough's failure to provide a safe working environment for its employees, its volunteers, and ultimately the community in itself. I also wrote a letter to Mr. Frankel on December 30th outlining a lot of our concerns. Within the letter, it was, I believe, back about 5 years ago, then President Dave Civilli brought the radio issues to light here, and nothing was done. I went on in a letter to address a few other things. I also put in a letter that the Perth Amboy systems, as though it was a nice gesture, there are failures. There's Morgan. You can't communicate out of Morgan. I believe from the S-curves on Bordentown all the way westward and back out to Miller's Corner is an issue. And it's also, I also documented back in December of 2014 that this system is old, it's outdated. You can't get parts for this, from what I'm understanding. Is that not right, Captain? That's correct. We can't get parts, so we cannibalize other systems. And you're taken from systems that are already offline. So do we know these parts that we get even work? It's trial and error. I also put in the letter to Mr. Frankel that it's inevitable. This system is a catastrophe. It's going to just melt down. It went down on Thursday. I guess it comes up, goes out, but overall, we haven't yet used that radio system, I believe, since Thursday. We were on Perth Amboy system. Dan's letter back to me was that January 15th of 2015, that you're having internal meetings to discuss the situation of the radio system. So this is not something new, right? We've kicked the can down the road long enough. You have to take action here. Whatever the most viable solution is at this time is what we would agree to. But this is a short-term fix for a long-term use.
Understood.
We can't have it.
Understood. Doug, would you have, do you have any objection to us working with the county on the short term?
Mayor, I have no objections as long as we get a radio system
Okay.
that is viable and it's going to provide not only safety to our members, the volunteers, and the community.
Okay. I would like you involved in this also so that you can disseminate what we're doing down to the members of the local.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Okay, so to sum it up, we'll be voting on the 700 channels tonight? We will authorize the business administrator to work with the county tomorrow to get these 100 radios up and running. We will authorize Captain Batko, Tom Bracken, our IT guy, and the business administrator, along with Wayne, to now, with all haste, get this accomplished. I think this is probably, if I remember correctly, the last time we did a radio system was probably somewhere around $10 million, seems to ring a bell. I'm not sure if that's, am I
When
ringing
was
the
that?
same bell, Wayne, or
When was
not?
that?
Different bell.
When was that, by
That
the
was the
way?
computers, I think.
Can someone answer me how old
I'm
the
gonna say
system
about
is?
$3 million.
3 million, okay.
Hold on.
How old is the system itself?
Oh, my God.
Do we know?
I don't remember.
Captain Gavin, I think, put it in.
18 years ago?
I thought 20.
All right, so you've had the
19?
same- You've had the same system for over 16 years?
Oh, well over.
Thank you.
Tom? Well,
I just received a call from Jim Paulos, Dan. He was trying to reach you. He called me. He's setting up a committee tomorrow to work with us. He wants you to call him. He's putting this committee together to get you whatever your needs are on the short-term solution.
Good.
And if we want to look at a longer-term solution, going with the county for the entire system, he'll do it. So Dan, get a hold of Jim Paulos tomorrow and his committee, you put your committee together and they'll work on it immediately.
okay. Mary?
Dan, can I just ask you to make sure that you let every one of us know the progress? I know you're going to be busy, but if you could just.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, Dan, if you could just, I'll be the lead for us. Put us on the
Okay.
committee.
Are there any first responders that wanted to come to the podium tonight? All right, so we have a plan. We're going to put it into action. And everybody will be kept in the loop as far as what is happening, when it's happening, and when it is going to happen. On behalf of the residents of Sayreville, we thank you for working for working with us and for keeping us safe. We are in your debt, and we thank you sincerely.
Mayor, if I could just, I don't know if Dan or Tom or the captain can answer the question, but if this is going to take us a couple weeks to get the county up and running on our system, is there a system that we can rent immediately for tomorrow? So these men and women are on the
Dan
road tomorrow?
and Ron, if you would look into that, like Mary suggested, maybe something, get a hold of Barry Eck, because OEM sometimes has access to.
Barry's back there.
Barry, are you there? Come on up there, buddy. If you would put Barry Eck on this committee, Dan. Barry, do you have anything for an emergency
Mayor,
such
I
as
know,
this?
I know two things about radios when it comes to radios.
Yeah.
Push to talk, release to listen.
All right.
Okay? I am not a radio guy. I don't profess to be a radio guy. We know we've had these problems for a long time. Everybody's been trying to work on it. The conversations go back and forth. It has to be addressed, and obviously we're addressing it tonight. I strongly think that we should go the way Mr. Frankel says with the county system for the time being to see where they're going. I had the conversation with Mr. Paulus about a month and a half ago, and at that time he offered his assistance in any way he could.
Okay.
I think that that's going to get us up as quickly as possible, get us up as safely as possible until the long-term fix and Captain Batko and his people can get things done there.
Okay.
But I would recommend that.
Do you have anything from the world of the OEM that we could use tomorrow?
My string and tin cans are long overdue.
Okay, okay. Doug, did you want to make a closing remark? Or everything is good? Not that it's good, but we have a plan and you're in agreement with the plan.
Mayor, I think the concern here is the safety. If we have a plan in place that we can get, tonight, tomorrow, whatever it is, I don't think we have any objections on what way we're going.
Okay.
Again, this is a short-term solution, to a long-term problem. It's got to be done.
Right.
Perth Amboy's band seems to work fine. It's clear. If you could put repeaters in certain areas, that would work, because that's the other thing you have to realize, that is the county going to cover the whole borough? Are we going to need repeaters out on the east end in the Morgan section? Are you going to need them, in other places?
Well, we
where do
may
need 'em?
need repeaters no matter whose system that we use, so the question is who's going to get us up and running the quickest and has the best short-term solution for us.
And it was just brought to my attention is that if we're going to be utilizing other radios, you're running around the clock here. One radio, 3 batteries, you got to make sure you're well prepared here, because
Understood.
if you're not putting any systems to the car radio, you have to make sure you have battery backup.
Okay. You're on the committee, Doug, so.
That's fine, Mayor.
Mayor, each of those phones that we would be getting has an extra battery also.
Okay.
Dan, there's one thing I'd just like to add. I think now that the Perth Amboy system is their auxiliary backup system, we could probably have conversations the same way. Maybe that system could be our backup too. We're going to go with a new system, that's great, but we should have a backup. Today, we don't have a primary or a secondary.
Correct.
Agree?
Okay.
Put that on your list.
Chief Mulligan, anything to add?
Just real quick, I mean, we have 11 radios, we need more than 11.
Okay.
Rich Mulligan.
Rich,
I'm Chief.
Chief.
Could you ask Chief?
Kevin Ott,
Could you ask the chief to give us a count maybe by tomorrow and for
you,
Kevin? to give us a count
are you
tomorrow?
available tomorrow by phone? If not in person? Right. Okay. Kevin, if you could do the same, and also if you would reach out to Morgan and find out their needs.
Kevin can do that.
So,
Okay.
so right now, can I just ask this question, because it's paying attention to everyone coming up to the mic? PD has some communications. We have some with fire. There's nothing, though, with EMS at all.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I'm
We
looking
will-
out at
we will do-
faces.
We will do our best, as the chief got 12 to 15 over the weekend, we will do our best tomorrow to see if I can get a half a dozen or so for EMS. I will do my best.
I'm just looking out at faces here, and yeah, I know we have some type of a plan in place, sort of short-term, sort of long-term, but every single face out here is stoic and angry and frustrated. I'm frustrated as a resident when I found this out. I'm frustrated as a council person. And to listen to grievances filed back in 2014, and I don't think it's just here. We are such a reactive society here in Sayreville. And I'm just wondering when we're going to finally have a proactive society and deal with these problems before they come up. September 11th, I thought every town was prepared for these type of emergencies. And then we had Hurricane Sandy happen, and we're still waiting now to have plans in place before catastrophic failures of communication or whatever. If this isn't some kind of a major wake-up call here, I don't know what is going to be. I couldn't sleep the other night when I heard this. This morning when I went into my school building, I sat there thinking to myself, what is happening? What has happened to this town? When are we going to wake up? When are we going to turn around and get the type of things in place that we need to operate every day? Infrastructure here. I've been saying it. It's why I'm sitting up here. It's why I ran. Our infrastructure is falling apart, and it has been for, it sounds like,
Oh, my God.
how long?
Well,
Too long.
we had these problems back in the 90s.
I wish I could snap my fingers and find a way. I literally feel helpless up here. Helpless. And I can't imagine what it's like every single day when you leave your house, to have to go to work, to be a police officer, to be a fire department. I had someone from fire call me, I won't say who. They go, Vic, the system's down again. We can't communicate if we're in a building. I go, well, that means our PD can't communicate when they're on call. My hands are, I'm just shaking my head. I wish I could solve every single problem right now. But I hope that this is a wake-up call to everyone out there.
No
I'm
more
shocked.
last-minute fixes.
Captain Batko, did you want to wrap it up?
I think everything was said that needed to be said. I'll work with Mr. Frankel with the county in getting that. That seems to be the most plausible thing because of the speed of getting the radios, I would think. And we'll take it from there, one step at a time, but we have to forge ahead with the acquisition of a complete new system. You know, that is absolutely something that, and unfortunately, you know, I have in my office and in the chief's office proposals. Myself, I was a lieutenant at the time. I've been a captain for many years. Petitioned the council, the business administrator, prior administrations, prior councils, with the need to get a new radio system. It's not like I'm standing up here today and saying we need a new radio system. I said that in the past. I said that it wasn't Chicken Little, but we had to get our ducks in order, and we waited too long. We pushed the point of safety, and we have to take you know, extraordinary steps to make that up.
Okay. Thank you, Captain. Okay. Men and women of Saraville Police, Fire, and First Aid, again, we thank you, and we ask for your patience, however long or short this is going to take for us to resolve. But you certainly are on the front burner, and this is certainly going to be dealt with in a very quick and expeditious manner. So, I think that, is this part of the, is this concluded? Again, were there any first responders that wanted to speak? Okay. So with that part, I think we should deal with, Counselor, if you have something ready for the channels?
Yes, Mayor. This is a resolution authorizing the purchase of the 700 MHZ frequency and authorizing the requisition of these new channels, whereas the radio channels utilized by the borough's current radio system are set to be reclaimed by the FCC under Congressional Law 2021, whereas the FCC has encouraged and set aside 700 MHZ frequencies for those agencies which currently operate in what is known as a UHF T-band, the band where Saraville's current channels reside, whereas the new 700 MHZ frequencies are scarce resource and other agencies in the greater New York metropolitan area will be all vying for the same channels sought by Saraville. Therefore, or strike that, whereas the very configuration of adding channels to incrementally increase capacity of the overall regional system has been successfully implemented in the city of Camden as part of the new Camden 700, 800 MHZ system. And now therefore be resolved that the borough is authorized to secure these new radio channels in order to secure its future radio requirements as mentioned.
Is there a motion, Council President?
Seconded.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Buchanan?
Yes.
Kilpatrick?
Yes.
McGill?
Definitely, yes.
Melendez?
Yes.
Novak?
Yes.
Rittenhouse?
Yes.
Okay, Captain Batko, the channels are done, and the rest of it will begin work tonight and tomorrow, and hopefully the resolution will come quickly and easily.
Terry?
On a short-term basis.
Do we need a motion to move forward with the county, or?
No, I just asked Counselor.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't.
Okay, everything else has been authorized to move forward.
Mayor, what? Mayor, one other question. Will we need to open up that resolution to the public for questions or comments?
Okay, I'm going to open up the resolution to purchase the 700 channels to the general public for questions or comments on it. Are there any questions or comments on that resolution? There being no questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion. Council President?
Mayor? Which one are we on here? Just on a resolution, I would second.
Close the public portion.
Motion to close the public portion and adopt the resolution.
And adopt the resolution.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you, everyone. With that, Dr. Kelly, if you wanted to come forward, I'll get you also, and if you have anyone with you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Police, Fire, First Aid. Kevin, if you give the fellows and ladies a couple minutes to.
That's my son. Yeah, he looks a lot different from they all do. That's his friend, Mike. His childhood friends. Yep. You know. When they were going through. Yes, we taught somebody of everybody. You remind me of my friend It was always women. I always used to tease his wife. You know, everybody was coming. We need a cross.
Hey, Vinny, could Could I ask you to close the doors to the hallway, please? Thanks, Captain. Doctor? Doc, if you could take the microphone, identify yourself, where you live, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm Kevin Kelly. I live at 1 Parkview Boulevard, which is on the corner of Ernston Road and Parkview Boulevard, right behind the woods that are next to the mini mall on Ernston Road.
Go ahead.
My concern is there's been mention of a housing project going up in the 3 acres of land that my property directly borders with. I have questions, something like 70 to 80 units, and how that would impact all the people that border it and in the neighborhood that don't directly border it.
It's,
It has been brought before the governing body by the Housing Authority. They keep asking for, my understanding is they're looking for the borough to lease it to them at a very nominal charge, let's say $1 a year, could be more. And that they're trying to put together what is being referred to as a report card, which they can then submit to the federal government, and they can then go and get funding for this project. It's supposed to have a residential and a retail / office mixed use.
If I'm right, that's 3 acres of land, correct?
Jay?
No, it's approximately 3.5 acres.
3.5 acres, and it's 70 to 80 units?
There was just a letter,
Yeah, it
there's
was
no
just a-
plan, it's
yeah,
just
there's no
a
plan.
conceptual plan, and that was the number that they had talked about.
So
that was
how would you do that, other than putting like a skyscraper type of thing? Is that what the plan was?
That's hasn't been discussed at all as to what it would look like, how it would be developed. This is just a request to possibly use that property for that purpose.
Jay, could you explain to Dr. Kelly how the process works from the conception to authorization for redevelopment?
Yes. First thing that would happen is the planning board would have a study commission to see if it meets the criteria of a property that could be considered in a redevelopment area. If that is approved by the planning board, the council would also go through and approve it. Then there would be a plan that would be developed as to how that site could be developed. It would talk about height, it would talk about setback, buffering, those type of things. That also would have to be reviewed by the mayor and council. Then it'd have to get approval from the redevelopment agency. Then it'd have to come to the planning board. So it's a very long process. The neighbors would all be involved. Anyone within 200 feet would be noticed whenever there was an application before any of the boards. So it would be something that you would be made aware of since you're an adjacent owner. But it's not to that point yet. They're just talking about conceptually moving forward and possibly the first phase, which would be a study to see if it meets the criteria for redevelopment.
But there has been requests from the Housing Authority that the governing body essentially, or in my words, pre-approve commitment from this council to lease this property or sell this property to the Housing Authority at a nominal charge for low-income senior housing at the previous meetings.
Mr. Mayor, might I?
Please.
Mr. Kelly, I think I can answer a couple of your questions. The Housing Authority did come here twice. We gave them a second bite at the apple, and we have yet to see anything regarding studies or renderings, nothing that really says what we want to see. We did allow them to appear before the Economic Development Corporation, and we are looking to put that property into Sarah's basket of redevelopment properties. But the current plan that they came up with really was it was done very poorly. It really showed no originality. They wanted to, yes, they did want to put apartments over possibly a urgent care center or retail stores that we just felt it was just too vague. So anyone can come to us with a with the possibility of doing something, but I, for one, I thought it was a very poorly laid out plan.
So, was there anything with what you just said, Mr. Mayor, that was out of order with what Mr. Cornell said as far as giving them the permission and giving them the land?
There is an urgency on the Housing Authority. They have said they wanted to they have a June deadline to submit all their paperwork. So they've been very proactive in coming to the governing body. The next week, they were at the redevelopment agency. Then the following, however the timeline went, it was very quick. And then the Housing Authority came back to us last meeting and is asking us to take action and make a commitment to them for this property. So whether it's an 80-unit low-income senior, or it's some other issue, the people that live around it should know what's going on literally in their backyards. If this is the first I'm hearing about tonight that we wanted to give it to the redevelopment agency to redevelop that property. I thought it was projects specific with the Housing Authority, but now it seems to be opening up onto a life of its own.
Mayor, as I recall at the last meeting, Michael Diadio got up and said that the only thing they said was that it probably should be added as a
Oh, Council President McGill said tonight that he
No,
wants it.
Mayor.
No, Mr. Diadio actually said that he didn't think personally that this was appropriate for that area.
And I reiterated that.
So, I mean, the council has made no commitment. Sarah said that they don't necessarily think that this is an appropriate development plan for here. Whether or not the Housing Authority, is pushing for it, they have gotten no commitment from us, and certainly no commitment from Sarah, other to say that the area might be an area in need of redevelopment. But what to be put on there is no commitment
And
whatsoever.
Mr. Kelly, it doesn't really matter to me what the Housing Authority thinks. It's what the people of the borough think. All right? Some people get ahead of themselves.
Yeah, we just want to be included,
Yeah.
and I didn't realize how this works. I'm not in government, so that's why I'm here.
Thank you.
Anybody? These are some of my neighbors that came out here. Does anybody else have anything to say? You mind?
Yes, no, by all means.
You just have to identify yourself.
Hi, I'm Meg Heekin. I live at 50 Driftwood, and we're just adjacent to that property is behind us. I understand that there's a lot of money that's been accumulated for open space. And I had the idea that perhaps that location should be allocated for open space.
We own it.
It's a very strange location. It butts up against a mini mall. There's a parking lot. It's an odd shape. There's a big hole in the middle, and I'm befuddled as to why anybody would even think about or attempt, and I'm not a builder, but attempt or think about developing that for anything. It's kind of a mess, really.
The borough owns
The
a
borough
third of
owns
all
it.
property within Sayreville. Now, that
So
being
we wouldn't
said,
have to buy it
what
with
that,
open space.
Mary, that being said, what the governing body could do is declare it as open space in perpetuity. Right now, it's just property that we own, so in fact, somebody could develop it.
I mean, frankly, I would be willing to work out there and perhaps start some kind of a community garden. Do something productive, maybe get some of the school children involved. I'm retired, and, perhaps get something that could actually produce something in there. Because right now, it's old trees and sticker bushes and piles of leaves and dead animals. There's all kinds of things back there. So, and I'm an advocate for the homeless. I'm an advocate for seniors. I have nothing against having property developed for these purposes. I don't even think it would be safe over there. You have seniors wandering onto Ernston Road. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And we're concerned about our property values and what it would do as far as noise and, obstruction. But I'm also concerned about, if they were to build something like that over there, how safe is it? So it's just worth considering. Appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Does anyone else have a question on this? If you'd identify yourself and your address, please.
My name is Tom Campbell. I live on Rhoda Drive, number 4 Rhoda Drive. I've lived there for 28 years. My brother-in-law here he's on 51 Driftwood, so that's why we're here. I had thought, I'm also an attorney, but that's beside the point. I'm here as a resident. I thought these plans were more formalized, and my understanding of the redevelopment statutes and so forth indicate to me that I don't believe this would be an appropriate area for that kind of use. But as long as the proper protocols, the council, as you said, council, are going to be adhered to, that's fine. These things come out in the public. A letter was circulated through the neighborhood, so people start thinking all things. I thought that these plans were more developed than apparently
The request for commitment from the borough was
But as
upfront.
I understand that, Mayor, that's just with regard to if they want to get some funding for this by June 2016, and I don't see what the haste would be. Why couldn't, if they really want to do an analysis, push that out to 2017? I mean, that land's been vacant for as long as I've lived in the neighborhood, and I grew up in President Park, so it's been as long as I've lived in Sayreville,
Right.
it's been, so.
Very good point.
I just don't see the haste. If they need that by June to get funding, my opinion is, so what? It's been that way for so long. Let's do it right. Let's follow the protocols and the investigative processes that the statute requires. So that's all I want to say. Thank you.
May I ask you, sir? Hi. I'm actually your neighbor. I live right down the block from you.
Yes, I know where you live. You live right adjacent to my sister, actually. So, yes.
So I didn't get the letter. I live in the development. That's
Well,
one
I got
question.
it through my brother-in-law. It was circulated up around Driftwood, as I understand it, in the Parkview section.
So
So
I'm just curious who sent you the letter, because I didn't get it, and
So,
and you are correct. The proper channels, they came up here and asked, and we haven't approved anything.
Okay.
And I don't even understand the process 100% myself. Except
it's just that Westminster Boulevard, anybody that uses the mini mall goes to Santino's, or, I mean, that is, and then you go through there, like in the early morning hours now with the light changes, all the people crossing and everything.
That's my wife.
I
She
just
drives through
don't,
there
I
every
just
day.
don't think that would be an appropriate place for such a facility.
I mean,
And
I can't answer whether it is.
and
You're probably
you know.
right, but for you to be here tonight, I'm pretty.
just wanted to
I'm pretty
state my opinion, that's
surprised.
all.
No, and I'm glad you guys are
Thank
here
you.
early, because this is what we need to do, is have people come up way before these things are decided. I'm just asking the question, like, how did you know to come here today when we're not approving? The Housing Authority came twice, and we sent them away with to come back with more information. So I'm just curious why my neighbors are all here, and I don't know about it.
Well, that's what happened. They left you out of the loop, I guess, Councilman.
That's okay. I
is
mean,
there
I could have saved you a
anything-
trip.
Is
Well, I
there
could've drove
anything
you.
else on the
Yes,
letter
they
that
did.
needs to be addressed, or was it just
No,
that?
it was
I
just,
mean, how?
it was the letter from Joe Ambrosio from the Housing Authority, and also a printout. I actually have it. It's a bullet point presentation. that,
Oh.
I don't know I don't know how it was
Joe Ambrosio sent out a letter?
presented. That's why I thought this was a more formally proposed.
No.
Oh, I'd like to see
Plan.
it. If you have the letter, I'd like to see it.
Sure.
Oh, that'd be good. I need
Okay.
to see it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
Mayor, may I?
Sure.
Just like you came here today to ask your questions, that's basically what the Housing Authority did. They came here and they asked, they said what they would like to do, and they asked. And we gave absolutely no commitments. And just like we sat and we listened to them, and we were going to go through a long process, we're very happy to sit here and hear from you. As our councilman down the way said, it's good, maybe that we heard this before the process even got started. So thank you for coming in tonight.
Okay, are there any other questions from that neighborhood about this issue? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for coming out and taking an interest in your town and your neighborhood.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Terry, next order of business?
Yes, Mayor, we have the public introduction of the following ordinances. Ordinance number 310-15, bond ordinance amending bond ordinance number 195-12, finally adopted on October 9, 2012 by the Borough of Saraville County and Middlesex, State of New Jersey, in order to provide for a change in the improvements authorized by such ordinance.
Councilwoman Novak?
Mayor, I move the ordinance be approved on first reading, advertised according to law for a public hearing to be held on November 9th, the prevailing time.
Second?
Roll call?
Councilpersons Buchanan,
Yes.
Kilpatrick,
Yes.
McGill,
Yes.
Melendez,
Yes.
Novak,
Yes.
Rittenhouse.
Yes.
Next item?
Introduction of ordinance number 311-15, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 15 of the Revised General Ordinances of the Borough of Saraville to amend Section 15-1.7, permit fees for permits required under NJAC 5:70-2.7 of the Uniform Fire Code, adding Section 15-1.7B3.
Councilman Buchanan?
I move the ordinance be approved on first reading, advertised according to law, and a public hearing to be held on November 9th, 2015.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Buchanan,
Yes.
Kilpatrick,
Yes.
McGill,
Yes.
Melendez,
Yes.
Novak,
Yes.
Rittenhouse.
Yes.
Introduction of ordinance number 312-15, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 12 of the Revised General Ordinances of the Borough of Saraville to amend Section 12-3.5, property rental and resale inspection.
Councilman
I move
Buchanan?
I move the ordinance be approved on first reading, advertised according to law, and a public hearing to be held on November 9th, 2015.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Buchanan,
Yes.
Kilpatrick, McGill,
Yes.
Melendez,
Yes.
Novak,
Yes.
Rittenhouse.
Yes.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to open the public portion for questions or comments on consent agenda resolutions. Are there any questions or comments? Being no questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion. Council President.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the public hearing be closed and the consent agenda resolutions be approved on roll call vote.
Second?
Roll call?
Councilpersons Buchanan,
Yes.
Kilpatrick,
Yes.
McGill,
Yes.
Melendez,
Yes.
Novak,
Yes.
Rittenhouse.
I'll be abstaining under 2015-306. I'll be voting no on payment to Warner Lesniak, invoice 186073, invoice 185085, and the reason being, I still have not asked since February. I feel they're overcharging us. They should be at a rate of $150 an hour, not $170 an hour. And Mr. Buchanan was supposed to get me the information. I'm still waiting since February. No RFP and no qualifications. On the remainder, it's a yes vote.
Thank you.
Anything else, Terry?
Yeah, that's all I have.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to open the public portion for questions or comments on any and all issues. Are there any questions or comments? Mike?
Mike Diadio, 13 Zaleski Drive. Mayor, I wasn't even going to come up here tonight, but I was recently shown your flyer. Do you have something against Italian Americans?
I am one.
Mayor, you're Irish.
I have an Irish name, that's for sure.
Well, is every Italian in the mafia? I mean, you put out a flyer with The Godfather showing Tom Pilando as, is he in the mafia? Do you think he's in the mafia?
Mike, we're about a week away from the election day,
Right,
so
we're in the stupid
I'm not
season,
entering
and
into
this
this
is the stupidest
conversation.
thing. You know, this is one of the reasons I'm not a Republican anymore, because you do stupid things like this. You know, you don't talk about politics, you don't talk about issues, you just make up lies. Every Italian in this town should be offended from that flyer. Mr. Rittenhouse himself has Italian relatives. Are they in the mafia too? Am I in the mafia? I mean, if you think he's in the mafia, why didn't he whack you out a long time ago?
What else you got? What else you have here, Mike?
It's very offensive, Mayor. I think you owe every Italian in this town an apology. Thank you.
Yes.
Mayor, my name is Frank Attilio. I live at 2 Alacqua Boulevard. And Angelo Monopoly lived at that house for the last 48 years as well. And I got to tell you, I seen your flyer, and I got to make a comment about it. I'm Italian. I'm a full-blooded Italian. My mother's Sicilian. My father's Napolitan. And I happened to come across your flyer. Listen, I don't mind political stuff, but I am really offended. I belong to an Italian society community, which I'm very offended at. You got this posted as Tom Plano being in a mob, being a godfather in a mob. Now, I'm going to tell you, I worked for Tom, the Painweber, since I was, 19 years old? And if you want to call about doing morale, building morale and building a family to make something work, if you want to call that a mafia or a family, then so be it. But it's not an Italian mob. Italian mobs are created to brutally beat people to get what they want. That's not what he does. I worked with him. We became a family. Everybody worked at Painweber as a family, and we got things accomplished as a family, not as a mob. And I really think you owe him an apology and all the Italians for this, picture of the mafia in the background of your advertisement. I think that is a low blow, and I don't think that's what politics are about. I work for the Department of Homeland Security, and I've never seen that in Washington. I think you owe us an apology because that's very offensive to all the Italians in this community. And going back to my grandparents and my ancestors. That's my comment to you, and I think you deserve, we deserve an apology from you with this offensive advertisement. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments? Being no other questions, yes, Barbara.
Barbara Kilcummins, 22 Schmidt Street. I know it's the political silly season, and I didn't see your flyer or whatever, but I have to comment, and I found sort of offense too, about you receiving a position in the state. Let me go on. Mr. Buchanan has a position secured for him in the state. People, there is a policeman right here. Our tax dollars, local, you're paid by the whole state. Local taxpayers have to pay. Mucho money. Mr. Frankel, uncertified from the position, received a $30,000 raise, 10, 10, and 10. Uncertified for a position. The head of the water department, and these are all put there by Democrats. The head of the water department apparently took a test 4 times, uncertified for the position, making $100,000 and over. Mary Novak's son, I happened to find out, overtime and all, a lieutenant, just received a lieutenant, made $160,000 for a cop. Now, the Democrats, to me, people in glass houses should not throw stones. And this is the political season. And if that's all you have to say in Sayreville about the mayor is the salary that he received from a job, shame on all of you.
Are there any other questions or comments?
Mayor, I'd like to make a comment. Barbara, if you investigated further, you'd find out that a great majority of that money is not paid by the town. It's road jobs, where he goes out there in all different kinds of weather.
It's regardless of the point. I'm talking a figure of a salary, whoever pays for it, whatever. But
Barbara?
Have a lot to say on every other item and all.
Barbara?
So people in glass houses should not throw stones.
My son is a civil servant who has taken tests and come out number 1 on every single test.
So he's entitled to $160,000.
He's
Great.
entitled to, no, again, that $160,000 isn't paid for by the borough. You know, Barbara, your son was arrested, but you got him out of trouble, and even after his arrest, because of your political affiliations with McGreevy, he became a state trooper. Ooh. So we won't get into that.
Excuse me?
You know what I'm talking
McGreevy.
about. Possession of stolen property,
Well,
Barbara.
can I tell you something? Yes, part of it was a prank as a teenager, whatever. And may I tell you something? He became a state trooper under Christy Whitman. That's how much you know.
Where did your son get married, Barbara? on the governor's
Growth
lawn.
whacking, I believe.
Yes, and
The governor's
I
lawn.
graduated from Middlesex with a degree in criminal justice and went on to Rutgers and got a bachelor's degree in administration of justice. I investigated for the last 16 years. I am qualified for my position. I make $62,000 a year. I am paying into my pension 100% as everyone other state worker does. I did not make $5,000 a year and pad my pension. And this is the problem with our pension system. And it's going to trickle down to us. Somebody asked me, what does that have to do with the borough? It absolutely has to do with the borough because eventually it's going to run out of, the pension system's going to run out of money, and we're going to, as a borough, going to have to pay for this. And that's where the problem comes in.
You have a business administrator double dipping. Who's paying for his pension? The county? Whatever? I don't know when he has time to work a county job, but appointed by a Democrat, all the Democratic council majority. And here, so there you are. Plus, the town got bamboozled, giving the logo out and everything else.
Barbara,
No, can't
Barbara,
throw
just so-
stones. I'm
just
not
so
going to
you
get
know,
into a political thing
what you just
for
said-
election, but examine your own consciences.
Barbara, what you just said is not true.
What's not true?
The council was 3 Republicans and 3 Democrats when Dan Frankel was appointed, I believe. It wasn't a majority of Democrats. It was my first year.
Is
And it
that
was
true?
3-3.
I thought it was Democrats.
Nope, 3-3.
Is that true, Mayor?
I'd have to look it up, Barbara.
No, Mr. Bertrand was fired, and when Mr. Frankel, and he was fired by Democrats.
Correct.
I don't think so.
Again, the council was 3-3, so Mr. Bertrand was fired by a split council, and Mr. Frankel was hired by a split council, Barbara. I'm sure Terry can get you a copy of the minutes, Barbara.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments? Being no other questions or comments, is there anything for executive session?
I move we close the public portion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're going to adjourn and reopen with the council workshop. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Who's the second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Please stand for a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sorry.
Terry, statement of publication?
Mayor, take notice that this agenda meeting of the Mayor and Borough Council being held on this 26th day of October 2015 has been advertised and posted in accordance with Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Buchanan.
Here.
Kilpatrick.
Here.
McGill.
Here.
Melendez.
Here.
Novak. Rittenhouse.
Here.
Okay, under old business, as I call out the ordinance number, if you have a question or comment, please weigh in. 310-15, 311-15, 312-15. Under committee reports, administration and finance, Councilwoman Novak.
Yes, Mayor, I move the following minutes and reports be received and filed. Board of Education minutes up, Board of Education. Couldn't even hear myself. Board of Education minutes, October 2nd, Municipal Clerk's Report, September. CFO's Investment Activity Report for September 2015, Office on Aging Report for September 2015.
Second.
Is there a second? Next item?
Applications were received by the following organizations: Animal Force Rescue to an off-premise 50/50 from May 28th, St. Stanislaus Casca to conduct the following: on-premises drawing, 50/50 on December 12th, on-premises drawing, on-premises draw, off-premises 50/50 on an on-president non-draw for December 6th. I don't even understand that. Okay. Anybody have a problem
Any
with that?
objections? Is there a second?
Okay.
To approve? Okay, next item.
Application was received from Huma and Khan to operate a beauty salon at 777 Washington Road. All reports are favorable.
Any objection? Next item.
Mayor, that's it right now. Thank you.
Okay. Planning and zoning, Councilman Buchanan.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the following reports and minutes be received and filed. The construction officials report, zoning and code enforcement report, and fire prevention report, all for the month of September 2015. And the Middlesex County Planning Board minutes of September 8, 2015.
Is there a second?
Second.
Next item.
Letter B, I move to receive and file the adjacent property owner received from New Washington LLC on an application before the Old Bridge Zoning Board. We just receive and file that. There's nothing that we have to take action on, correct? Other than that, progress.
Okay, thank you. Public Works, Councilwoman Kilpatrick.
I move the following minutes or reports be received and filed. All Public Works Supervisors' reports for the month of September 2015.
Second.
Anything else, Councilwoman?
No, that's all progress.
Okay, Recreation, Councilman Melendez.
Thank you, Mayor. Item A, the Recreation Director's report for the month of September 2015, receive and file. And item 2, Cultural Arts Council minutes of October 14, 2015.
Is there a second? Next item.
Thank you. Just my recreation report from Jerry Ust. As most of you may know, we had to change the trick-or-trunk parade this Wednesday to Thursday night. I understand there's some other issues with other events that are going on in town with Wilson School, so I apologize to my Wilson friends. But it's predicted to be a really bad storm. And I know Jerry Ust is very good at predicting storms, and I feel terrible for Jerry, but it's an outdoor event. There's vendors, people are coming, so he made a decision. We respect it. It will rain on Wednesday, and the event will be scheduled for Thursday. So if anyone has an issue, you can look at the website, sayreville.com. The second thing on his report for me is registration is ongoing for all programs at the SUES. You can visit sayreville.com to sign up for those programs.
Okay, anything else?
Yeah, a couple things. Library. Career and business workshops for fall, October 28th, November 18th, and December 9th. Let a professional polish your resume. So for people looking for jobs, the library does offer a lot of free activities like this one where they're going to help you do your resume. And there's another one for retirement, making your money last on Thursday, November 5th, 6:30 to 8. Switching hats to IT. Just to give you an update on the security camera projects, we've had 2 ongoing projects, and I know I've been talking about it for some time, but I'm pretty happy this week that both projects, one being the security system, which is the main hub at the police headquarters, will be live by the end of the week. That's really good news because the senior center at the same time is being worked on. That's going to be live as well. So I've been talking about this, about IP and the networking system that we have. The police headquarters will now be the central hub for all camera monitoring and security for the city. So when we decide, there was some talk last week about Borough Hall. We don't have cameras here at nighttime. And there's some safety issues. One of our fellow councilmen wants to work at nighttime, and he was told no because of safety. A technology solution like that can fix it. So we went through the main process of building the system as the primary hub, and I'm pretty excited. I know no one else is that excited as I am because it's computer stuff. But it is safety, it is important, and that is the first step. And I just want to reiterate about what happened earlier. We were talking about the systems with the radio. And, Mr. Captain Batko has been working, and I believe he probably was here for the last 10 years asking for these kind of things. So the people that are saying that it's his fault for not doing it, I wasn't here before. But what I can tell you is we do have, and he just left, we do now have a director of technology who now represents Sayreville. We didn't have that when I was here 3 years ago, day one. Unfortunately, to add to Vicky's point about being reactive, that's what seems to happen around here. And unfortunately, it took 2 years for me to prove why we even needed that person. In this day and age of technology, any normal person would know, how could we have a city without even one person? And we didn't have that. And it unfortunately took 2 years, and maybe if we would have did that 2 years ago, these gentlemen wouldn't have been here tonight complaining about their lives and safety. So I just want people to understand how, you know, Democrat, Republican, I don't really care. Like, I wasn't here, Barbara. I don't know the history. I'm here to fix things. And if the people don't want me to, then, you know, we'll find out next week. But, you know, I hope that if it's me or whoever's up here, you know, we have to think of the people. We have to be reactive. I mean, not reactive, we have to be proactive. So I'm not sitting here being in a reactive state. So I just, you know, seeing those guys here tonight, you know, it doesn't take an outage to come up and make a decision. And it seems like we made some quick, fast decisions tonight that, you know, personally, you know, they should have been made 5 years ago. And we're still reactive. Well, listen, I can't answer that either. I haven't been sitting here for 16 years. If I was, those guys wouldn't have been here tonight. So, again, I'm only here moving forward. I can't talk about what's going back. All I can ask is for support for technology and the things that we want to do going forward in this borough. So, with that, yes, sir. You can come up. Oh,
Wait, you have to wait for the public portion.
Save your questions. I can't.
You have to wait for the public portion,
You'll
if
have
you
your
would,
time.
please.
Yeah, unless you know, this is the first time you're here. If you come every week, Barbara can.
Okay, is there anything else, Councilman?
No, thank you. Progress.
Okay, thank you. Water and Sewer, Councilman Rittenhouse.
Thank you, Mayor. Move the following minutes reports to be filed. Water and Sewer Director's Report for the month of September 2015.
Anything else, Councilman?
Yes, report on home serve. Last Monday, the Star Ledger had a report in their bamboozled section. Barbara had referred to it before. There's a couple of facets with that. One, the main thrust of that when it began was the fact that they used, on the letters they sent out, there was borough letterhead and on the return address. At the time that was done with the contract, the thinking of the council, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, was that it showed legitimacy that that was the group that we did approve to offer to the public the warranty for water and sewer. Maybe the wording inside wasn't the best. It did say they weren't affiliated, but they were the approved vendor. My main concern, though, over that report, and I had asked this back earlier this year, there is a provision there that the borough is supposed to get 10% back. I had brought that up, and Mr. Frankel didn't give me a clear answer on it back earlier in the year, and we still have not received any money. And if that's the case, the 10%, I'm not sure. I think we need to audit and look at what this is, because we have not received a dime from HomeServe. We're supposed to get 10%, and there were something like 2,300 people who have purchased the warranties. Mr. Frankel, is there a reason we haven't received the 10%?
After seeing the bamboozle article and doing some research, I think I have a clear answer for you. In HomeServe's presentation to us, it says HomeServe would like to provide one of the following financial benefits to Sayreville and its residents. And they go bullet points. Commission of a percentage of revenue collected via policy payments. HomeServe, another bullet, fund to provide repairs for Sayreville residents who meet eligibility requirements and can't afford repairs or a policy. Another bullet point, annual donation to a charity of Sayreville's choice by HomeServe on behalf of Sayreville. The council was extremely clear, very clear, that we do not want a commission. HomeServe, as part of their program, collected 10%. We told them we do not want a commission. So that leaves an assistance program or a charity. So I said to HomeServe, how much is there? Because we do not have that money in the Sayreville's account. There's approximately $24,000 there that can be used as an assistance program for people of Sayreville who can't meet these requirements or can't afford repairs or a policy. Or we can make a donation, or we can stop. but that was part of their marketing program. So I would like a discussion of the council now on what would the council like to do, because
Well, I'll ask you to hold that off to
Okay.
your part.
Okay.
And that was the discussion I tried to have back then. We should have done it then, not now.
But it's in the contract. Why is this new?
It's not new.
But why are we bringing it up? Bamboozled? What?
I listened to the presentation, Mary, and at the time, I asked which we were going to do. As a matter of fact, I was in favor of possibly putting it towards the helping of other people who couldn't afford. No, we didn't. We didn't decide anything, as Dan just said. We're going to discuss it tonight. So I did listen, but didn't get an answer.
Oh, you didn't listen. You didn't listen.
I
We talked
listened.
about this, Art. I mean, this is not new.
And the other part of it is my involvement, because I was quoted there, and she quoted me accurately, was on getting to make sure that that warranty covered from the water main to the meter, and that it did. We have one of the strongest warranties that they've issued. So from that, and I purchased it also, it's a strong warranty, it's something that helps our residents. I think the confusion was more with the letterhead and the envelope, and that's something we can address and work out, I'm sure, with HomeServe.
Mr. Rittenhouse, also today, and I'll pass this out, I'm sorry to make copies of this, I also was very curious because we have residents that have purchased this. So I asked HomeServe if they would present to me something, which I've asked for, and I will give this to or I'll ask if we want to see it tonight, but there is approximately, and I'm totaling it up roughly, about $37,000 worth of repair work that HomeServe has done for these people who've purchased this insurance policy. So I want to make sure, if I may, that everybody understands this. This is an opt-in program. This is optional. It was vetted by the mayor and council. And the people who have responded to purchasing this, I'm very proud to say that they have used it, and they have over $37,000 worth of savings so far in purchasing this policy in less than a year's period of time.
In claims, right?
In claims, I'm
37,000
sorry, in claims, correct, in claims.
Right. So for $6 a month, so just so everybody knows, you can go to their website. It's actually, it looks like it's Cero because it says CeroRepairs.com, which takes you to HomeServe. There's 3 packages. There's an exterior water line service for $5.99 a month. There's a exterior sewer septic line for $9.99, and another internal, so for your internal plumbers, inside your house for $10.99 a month. So there's 3 different offerings of service that we brokered with this company to offer the borough. So for those people that spent $7 a month, they got $37,000 worth of claims this year alone. So the bamboozled article, in New York, we call it what? Arnold Diaz, shame, 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 like trying to make something out of nothing, and I don't understand what that's about, but what we do know is we have facts here. We have $6 a month, and people have made claims for $37,000 just this year alone.
Yeah, the warranty itself is a strong warranty, no doubt about that.
No, but the article made it seem like, we were
Well,
pulling something
the
over.
confusion was, is the person who was older thought that she had to buy it because it came from the borough.
Save the people money.
Save the residents money. Save
That guy
the
would have had to
residents a
pay
lot of money.
$6,000 of his own money to fix it. So we offered this service. Dan went out, our unqualified business administrator went out and got us this program on behalf of the town.
Mayor, may I?
Go ahead.
I mean, this all came about because a resident water line broke, and they were totally unaware that they are responsible for everything between the house and the curb. It's an awful lot of people.
And I think that's a good
Right,
idea,
well, right to
Mary,
the
because
main
remember we had the
street.
old lady that couldn't afford
Yes.
the mayor's friend? Maybe,
And-
can we take that $24,000 and maybe donate it towards people in her capacity?
Well,
Maybe-
that's basically what was set up, that we could help people that, had
In need,
problems
right,
like
like
that.
she could-
I think it's probably something we'll have to, we probably should let Wayne and Dan sit down and figure out a policy on how to actually distribute it. I'm sorry, I got to talk.
Based
into
on
the
need,
mic.
maybe they have to.
But this all came about because so many people don't realize this, and when it hits, it's extremely expensive. So by us doing this, not only did we help them get insurance at a fairly cheap rate, but was also information to them. Hey, I didn't even know I was responsible for this. So it was informative as well. And the reason why it had our name on it is because we had vetted several companies, and this was the one we chose. We didn't want the residents to think that this was just somebody, some Joe,
And
off the
it's clear,
street.
it's on the website. You can see it says it right
Yeah.
on the front page. It says the Borough of Saraville has selected HomeServe to offer affordable emergency repair plans that help provide protection against costly and inconvenient repairs. And it has our Saraville
We
logo
don't do
right on the
any of
front
these
page.
things lightly. We try to help the residents.
Right, so
You
people
have
can
to-
trust
you
it,
have
that
to hold
that the
off.
borough, our borough administrator, this council approved it, go for it, rather than somebody go out and buying their own insurance. If that's a bad thing, then, sorry.
No, the only question we had is the warranty didn't cover everything at first, and I talked to them, and they put it in writing so that we have that strongest warranty. Continuing on, Mr. Melendez mentioned that one of the council people wanted a key. That was me. I asked for a key to the building and the security code, so I have an office downstairs in the building. I was denied that, and one of the reasons they said was for security reasons. We do have an alarm system that says when you come in and when you leave the building. That's already in place in this building. Unfortunately, this building, at some times, there's nobody here in the building, and it's unmanned and it's totally open. So to deny a council person who was elected by the people not to be able to come in and hold meetings off hours, I think is wrong.
But that was,
Now,
the,
on
that was
some-
the chief of police who denied you.
No, it was a general question to the chief of police. He did not deny me. I spoke with the chief
He
of
said it
police.
was I have
And
the
I'm
email.
not
It
going
was
to put.
unsafe.
He was asked a general question, and the general answer was he was concerned about security in the building. That is correct. He wasn't given the specifics. I spoke to him after with the specifics. Moving on to something lighter, we had a great weekend. Our Saraville War Memorial High School marching band won the state championships on Saturday, and then on Sunday, they were up at Union High School. They were up at Union High School, and they won the regional championship for their group, which they are the best marching band in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. And we had some phone calls, and we saw it on Facebook. And we were able to give them a police escort in from Route 9 to the high school. And congratulations to the band members, but also congratulations to Dr. Caruso, to the Band Parents Association, and to all those parents who go and sit day after day for practices, sit out in cold weather while the band is still going. And the band, if you want to see a great program, they'll be at the next two football games, and they'll also be at the December program that the township runs. So it was a great experience to see.
If I may, Arthur, I did
Yes.
invite the band to come to the council chambers next month to be honored as champions.
Mayor, that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Council President, Public Safety.
Thank you, Mayor. Move the following minutes to reports be received and filed. Board of Health report for the month of August 2015. Police Chief's report for the month of August 2015. Court Administrator's report for the month of August 2015.
Is there a second?
Second.
Just one comment and a quick one. I agree totally with Arthur. I have been one of those parents years ago that did sit in the station wagon waiting for my son to finish band practice, and it was well worth it. Other than that, progress.
Okay, thank you, Council President. For the what it's worth, I'm the son of Dan O'Brien and Mary San Angelo. My great-grandfather came to this country in the 1800s, around 1880, I believe, from Shaka, Sicily. Married a woman here, and my grandfather married a woman named Ann Moen, whose family went back before the Revolution. And I've always told people, first and foremost, I am an American. As far as my heritage, I said I am the full mixture of Heinz 57, which for those of you that are old enough to remember the commercial 57 varieties of tomatoes in that ketchup, I am as American as you can get with a bit of everything running through my veins. If there's anyone from Shaka, Italy, any family member that I have, by the way, I didn't grow up with anyone in my family speaking Gaelic, speaking Italian with a Sicilian dialect or any other of the dialects, or any other language but English. So I grew up as an American, and I happen to have one heck of an Irish name. But first, foremost, and forever, I am an American citizen. and son of America. That being said, we will, and the other thing is, a week from tomorrow is November 3rd, which is Election Day. And I encourage everyone to exercise their right as Americans to go out and vote. We are a country who practices democracy, representative government, and I urge you all to avail yourself of that liberty. With that, we will go to the Business Administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I need authorization to adopt Title VI policy detailing the process for reasonable modification for transporting individuals with disabilities as approved by New Jersey Transit.
Next item.
Authorization to award contract for traffic light repairs and maintenance to the sole bidder, Gen Electric of Springfield, on an as-needed basis.
Next item.
Authorization to amend Ordinance 7-25.3, parking time limited on certain municipally controlled parking areas in order to reserve parking spaces for borough vehicle/employee parking from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the lot adjacent to the Borough Hall Annex.
Next item.
Request received from the Library Director for Community Blood Services to hold a community blood drive on November 24th, 2015 in the library parking lot using 6 parking spaces.
Next item.
Authorization to award contract for EH WOX or equivalent valve maintenance trailer system to the sole bidder, Illinois Tool Works, doing business as EJ WOX of Harvard, Illinois, for a total amount not to exceed $58,375.
Next item.
Authorization to award contract for a subsurface LC 2500 leak noise correlator system to AP certified testing of Ringwood, New Jersey, at a fee not to exceed $22,500.
Okay, anything else, Dan?
Yes, Mayor.
We were going to do that.
Yeah, we need to have a discussion for council about the money that HomeServe has in an escrow account, and I'd like to hear what people would like, because it's there, and...
If you would repeat the options?
The options are a fund that will be set up for people who cannot afford repairs, or donating money to charities of our liking.
What is the wish of the governing body?
How about recreation? Could buy football helmets.
Dan, there's no way of using it for our infrastructure, correct?
No, no.
All right, because my concern would be about using it for those who can't afford, and I get that. My concern would be people not opting into the program right
Dan,
outright.
could you speak in your mic, please?
I'm sorry. People not opting into the program on their own and just relying on the borough's money. We'd have to make sure that we had a fail-safe method to make sure it's legitimate.
Maybe paying for the seniors that can't afford the insurance.
What is the wish of the council?
I don't know if we should decide right now, but maybe...
We don't have to...
Do you want to think about it for a
I think
while?
ideas. I think,
Okay.
you know, the situation you brought up
can
with
we-
the old lady.
right.
Maybe we pay for their insurance, all seniors. I mean,
Dan,
how much would that be?
this is what I would recommend, that you go back to the insurance company and ask them to give you the information about what a variety of the towns have done.
Right.
Yeah,
And
and
then-
could we
and then-
apply that back towards a insurance policy, a new one?
Or we can just ask them to reduce the premium by 10%. That's the
70
easiest.
cents is not going to help that old lady who doesn't have any insurance.
Yeah, but then you get into this whole thing for criteria, as Councilman Buchanan said.
Senior.
I understand that, but
You know what, Mayor, maybe I should find out from HomeServe, get some, and maybe
Yeah.
Art could have a subcommittee meeting of the Water and Sewer. We can discuss it, and then the subcommittee can
Right.
make a recommendation
Okay.
to the council.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
next item is the CFO's report.
Mayor, I have one more thing, I'm sorry.
Go
I have one
ahead.
more thing. I just think, and we've all been, we've all been through a lot in the past 3 years. So I would really like, since no one has brought it up here, I'd like to take a moment of just bowing our heads, silent prayer for everything that happened to all the families of Hurricane Sandy that happened 3 years from this Thursday. Thank you. And they'll always be in our prayers. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Dan. CFO's report.
Okay, first item will be a transfer resolution at the next meeting. The next item is authorization to enter into an agreement with Prime Point for a payroll management system to be placed in operation on January 1st, the beginning of the calendar year. We went out to RFPs, and Prime Point was the most responsive.
Is there any objection to that? So have it on for the next meeting, Wayne?
Yeah, resolution, yes.
Okay, anything else?
No, that's all.
Okay, Borough Engineers Report, Jay Cornell.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item, Checker Court Drainage, you took action at your public meeting, so no further action is needed. Second is the modification to the former Borden Town Avenue water plant. As the council will recall, we bid that project 3 times. Each time the bid came in higher than available funds. At the last meeting, you authorized the negotiation of a contract to try to go through and get someone to do the project for available funds. I provided you with the detailed report. We were able to negotiate a contract for your available funds that would allow that building to be reconstructed. We did have to take out the site-related improvements, but they would put in your budget for next year. So if there's no objection, we'd recommend you award that negotiated contract. At your
Is there any objection? Next item, Jay?
That's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Borough Attorney's Report?
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Anything for executive session? Okay, this time I'm going to open the public portion for questions or comment. The gentleman in the traffic vest, I'll get to you next, Fred. The gentleman with the sunglasses. If you'd come up and state your name and your address, please.
Check the microphone, check which one.
Wait, we're going to make sure your mic is on, sir.
Hello? Hello?
Yep, it's on. Great. Okay.
My name is William Cruz, and I live at 100, Main Street. And my reason for coming here was because I'm having a problem with my landlord, and I'm seeking a remedy. Before I start that, is that director of technology also involved in the infrastructure planning, maybe?
What do you mean by infrastructure? Like-
Well, you know, we have a problem with our infrastructure. We saw that tonight.
Technology
And-
infrastructure.
And he's technology, but we maybe need someone to go out and look at our whole infrastructure and maybe come up with an idea before we start kicking the can and other problems that may come up soon enough. Because we do have a problem in this town. We did lose a good man last week, or was it 2 weeks ago?
Yes.
One of our mechanics.
Yes.
Poor lighting, the street was bad. Really, I mean, this man was going to retire, and 54 years old. I'm 61.
You look good.
Thank you, and I would like to see that happen. And second, you know, I lived in Alaska for 22 years. I am a certified emergency response officer. I work for the University Police Department, and I did search and rescue, evacuation. I was in charge of the university evacuation plan, and we always planned. And the reason why we were so successful is because Lieutenant Swart trained us, and we always looked at things open-minded and looked forward, because we knew in Alaska problems, icing, snow, you know, the things that happen, people don't have earthquakes, and we had to go find people through, and we always had a good plan, so we always thought ahead. And what I'm seeing here today, we're not thinking ahead.
I appreciate your comments. You're
Now,
absolutely
my
right.
other reason I'm here is because I need a remedy.
What is your issue, sir, with your landlord?
Excuse me?
What is the issue you have with the landlord?
Well, my landlord, I am a certified fire inspector here now in New Jersey, but I can't find a job. So I work for the borough now, and I work for the Office of Aging. I take care of the seniors, but it's only part-time. And this put me in a position because I'm a single father with an 8-year-old girl. And my funds will not allow me to take care of my family the way. So I went to the state, because I went and got all this, fire safety manager, fire inspector. I have it all.
You have to hold the microphone
I'm
up.
sorry.
That's okay.
And what happened was when the state asked me, do I have a lease? I said, no, I don't. But they gave me a tenant verification form, and I took it to the landlord. And the landlord refused to sign it. So because I was already receiving some assistance, they gave me legal assistance. And the first thing the attorney asked me to do was go and find out if she's registered that apartment with the borough. And what had happened was she didn't. So I had requested 4 different times for the zoning officer to come out and inspect that apartment. I inspected it. I did a lot of repairs, but the deck and the steps were bad, and finding out that she didn't have a CRO on file led me to believe that she's not telling you guys that she's collecting $1,000 a month from me for the last 23 months.
Okay, so what I'd like you to do is leave your name and contact information with our borough administrator
Okay.
after the meeting, and they'll be out there tomorrow.
Oh, very good, because...
Go ahead.
Just
Go
one
ahead.
question, okay?
Go ahead.
Were the repairs that are needed now, the steps, and were they done?
They're being, repairs are being done.
By whom?
by her now.
Right, so she knows she has to do the repairs.
Right.
So she's been in contact with our
The
code,
zone-
she's been in contact with our code enforcement.
Right.
They told her what she needed to do
Right.
to get the apartment up to code.
Right.
Is that correct? I just want to make sure, is that
No, no,
correct?
yeah, she-
Okay,
yeah.
and then she has to call for the inspection of when this is finished, so it's clearing with our people that it's in under code. Is that correct?
Correct.
So there is some progress, and you need some help, and our code enforcement people did come out, and they are helping you, and they are pressuring the landlord to go ahead and make those repairs, and she has to call for the inspection. Otherwise, our people are going to go in, but we're waiting for her to call for inspection.
Right.
Is that all correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so we're helping you, right?
Right.
Good.
We gotten that far. The problem is that she still refuses to sign the TVR. And without that, I can't go to the state and say, hey, here we are.
What is a TPR?
Well, it's a tenant verification form.
Okay.
All right, because she won't issue a lease. But she continues to refuse to sign that form. So without that form, there's no way I can get help.
I don't know does she have more than one apartment?
No, that's the only one. I live right above the bakery.
Okay, I don't know the law on that.
Well, we can't force her to sign it.
Okay.
There's no question about this. She cannot be forced to sign it. But my attorney already advised me of that.
Okay.
What I'm trying to find out is how can we make her realize that, you can't continue to do this, because it hurts my daughter. That's the key. The
Right.
key right now, I have no medical insurance.
Right.
All right, I've gone to the New Jersey Health. That takes 90 days. If she had signed that form, my little girl has health insurance.
Okay.
I will tell you what I'll do to try to help, okay? Because I don't think you're right. I think we can't force her to. If you leave me the form, okay, we do business with her. We do as a borough. We buy things from her. She's a business person in town. I will go over on your behalf, and I will see if I can get her to sign it for you. Is that fair?
I'll leave you that form. Thank
You
you
got it.
so much. Appreciate that.
Okay.
Guys, have a
Anything
good night.
else?
Thank you for having me come on for it. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Fred?
My name is Fred Block. I live on Calliope Road. Thank you, Councilman Rittenhouse, for bringing up the marching band's success this weekend. As a band parent, I have to tell you, it was a wild ride. Without going into too much detail, these kids obviously work really hard all year long. They give up part of their summers, like the football, like a lot of activities. But, I don't think that this kind of magic happens often. They went in and won the states, and it was an incredible thing. And then at the end of the day, they knew that the win was just temporary because they had to go back and do it all over again at bands that have been very strong in the division. So going through all of that day yesterday and then realizing that they came out as champions for both the state and our region, that's an incredible feat. But I want you to also know that last year, during an extremely difficult time for our athletic program in Sayreville, they also went, in case people don't know, they went and they won the state championships last year as well. And the year before that, they won the regional championships. These kids have been doing it year after year after year. And I know this probably doesn't have anything to do with the council and our town, but I do want you to know something. I have reached out to Dr. Labby, and I have told him that our kids are playing instruments that are being held together by duct tape. Not one band in all of this weekend that I saw had plastic and fiberglass tubas. Not one. We do. And for years and years and years, they have done everything they can to make do with the instruments that we have. And they've done an incredible job, and they win. They win. They work with these instruments that just, they need new instruments. And I know that, money has to come from somewhere. We all know that. That's the real world. All I'm asking is that you guys are aware that I have reached out to Dr. Labby. I have asked him to acknowledge these major accomplishments, and I'm hoping, I've asked him to sit down with me to discuss some way, some creative way to find money so that we can infuse new instruments, new vitality into the marching band. And with that, I also want to thank the mayor and Councilman Rittenhouse for also supporting the band on our home show. You guys actually sponsored the trophies for two of the marching bands. So I wanted to thank you for that as well. And we really appreciate all the support from the town. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fred, and congratulations again to the band and to your kids. Happy family. Yes.
Good evening, Steve Grillo, Exeter Court. I just wanted to thank the council for a recent press release about a light at White Oaks Drive on Main Street. I live in Sheffield Mews, and it's quite a dangerous area to try to get in and out of, so I wanted to applaud this body for looking out for the public safety of the community, and hopefully we continue to have progressive planning. We talked a lot about infrastructure, both technical and physical tonight, so thank you for that, and congratulations to the band. It's great news, so thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Anyone else tonight? Ted?
Ted Peterson, 971 Route 9 North, the Crestview Apartments. What's your name? I have never met William Cruz before. It's a face to the problem that I've been speaking to this council about for the past 4 months. People becoming homeless in the town of Sayreville. I've advised Ms. Kilpatrick for the past 4 months about this problem. I've never brought another face with me. If that's what it takes, maybe I should start bringing them down. We can do that. It's very simple. I want to read you what the preamble is for the Rent Leveling Board. The Borough Council does hereby declare that an emergency exists within the borough with respect to the rental of housing space in multiple dwellings, by reason of the demands for increases in rent which are determined by the Borough Council to be exorbitant, speculative, and unwarranted, and that health, safety, and the general welfare of the citizens of the borough warranting legislative action by this Borough Council. Under the police powers granted by the Mayor, Council of the Borough, in order to protect and promulgate the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the borough, a rent leveling board is determined to be necessary within the borough. So we have a rent control board, we have rent control laws. The council understands the need for the rent control board based on the rents being continually raised. Mr. Frankel, I applaud you for saying tomorrow you're going to go to speak to this woman on this man's behalf. Mr. Kilpatrick, we have 180 families who I've asked you to represent us as the liaison for the rent control board. You've never come down to our properties. You've never asked to visit with our tenants. This is one gentleman. He came down here with his voice. Mr. Frankel's trying to help the man. I've come down to you as a spokesperson for 180 families that need your help, that are being illegally evicted, that are facing illegal rent increases. But, Ms. Kilpatrick, you haven't responded. But you did say before that you hope this is a wake-up call with the communications. It really doesn't matter because you don't answer your phone. So a wake-up call really would be of no benefit to you. You also said that we need to be proactive, not reactive. Well, for 6 months, we've had this before you. We've had these illegal acts by these management companies presented to you on a continuing basis. You've taken no stance. You've made no comment. Can I ask you why?
Ted, if I can answer that. One, and we spoke about this, since it is at the Rent Leveling Board's doorsteps, all the complaints in Ms. Kilpatrick should not in any way influence the proceedings before the Rent Leveling Board. You know, I told her, look, you know, certainly meet with you, certainly discuss it, but not to take a public opinion because the Rent Leveling Board is about to have a hearing. Matter of fact, the only thing that I'm waiting from is from the attorney to contact me so that I can provide it with the mayor.
Well, like Ms. Kilpatrick's stance is that we don't, if we lose one police officer, that's too many, which we all agree on. But if one person is evicted illegally, that's too many. That's a position.
Mr. DuPont, that we're asking for Ms. Kilpatrick and for other members of this council to take a stand on. The only one who has taken a stand on that is the mayor. The only person who has helped the individual tenants of this township is the mayor. The only person who's answered his phone and gave me his personal cell phone number is the mayor. That's it. Why is that? Mr. Melendez, you seem to be involved in everything. You say, well, this is going forward. I wasn't here then, but I want to be involved in everything. I want to help all the citizens. You seem like a nice guy, but you've never given a position. You know, I'm asking the entire council, work together to help the families in the township. Help the mayor do his job. Help the people of Sayreville stop being illegally evicted. And gentlemen like this, you have somebody renting him an apartment illegally, collecting his money on a monthly basis, then refusing to sign a form for him and his daughter to live in a house. This is serious issues to a lot of people living in this community. This is serious, guys. This is the face. But we have in our property 180 families. Help us. Help us. The law is on our side. We have a rent control board. We have a good council. We have a wonderful mayor. Help us. Help him. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Being no other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Would the public portion be closed?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there any other business before this body?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to make a statement. A little while ago, some statements were made that for anybody that's sitting here and doesn't understand or might be watching this on TV at a later time, we are a civil service town. In the police department, you must take a civil service test, pass that test, and regardless of your score, wait to be appointed. I was not on the council when my son, after graduating from Rutgers with a degree in criminal justice, he took the civil service test. He had a 99.47, waited 2 years for a position to be available and appointed. I had nothing to do with it. It was his courage to take the test, his stamina to wait and not take a position within another town. He wanted to work here. His father was a police officer here. Then he took the test for sergeant, came out #1 in the state on the sergeant's test. I wasn't on the council. I had nothing to do with his taking that test. And he waited until a position became available, just like anybody else. And then the same thing happened with his lieutenant's test. He took the lieutenant's test. He came out #1, all before I was on the council. He just happened to be promoted 2 years after I was elected. He waited for a position, just like everybody else. He makes the same salary as any other lieutenant. Any extra money on top of his base salary, 90% of it is paid. For people that don't know, if you see a cop out there working with the construction crew, the money is paid by the contractor. It is paid to the borough, and then the borough pays the officer. So it's going to show up on his W-2 as being paid by the borough. But in fact, the borough was reimbursed for that. At no time did I have any, as a matter of fact, when my son was sworn in, the mayor asked me, he says, oh, it's such a special day. Why don't you swear him in instead of Terry? And I thought, no, I want him to do what everybody else did. So he was sworn in by the clerk as every other person is. So there was no special quid pro quo or anything else. He is where he is today because of his hard work. Got nothing to do with me, got nothing to do with anybody sitting up here. He was recommended for this position when it became available by the chief of police. Could have been passed if the chief didn't think he was appropriate for the position. The chief recommended him, and the council approved it. Had nothing to do with me. So I just wanted to, I know a lot of people in non-civil service towns, there's probably more shenanigans going on. The civil service town and the police department, that doesn't happen. And my son in particular, He waited, he deserved, and he worked hard for everything that he has. Thank you.
No other business, take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.